see it consistently every day. Okay, boom, this guy has his brights on. I don't know if it's gonna turn them down. Okay, boom, immediately. See that? I called that. How the hell did I call that? If, here's this guy's got his brights on too. It is like 7:20. Okay, it is not dark. There's no reason to even have your headlights on right now. It's not foggy. This one there, that's humidity. It's not fog. There's no significant fog. Okay. So far the cars I've passed, 2 out of 3 had white bright lights. That's the third one right there. 2 out of 3. And this is Morgan Hill, California. And you can see, I may as well keep these window wipers on. It's gonna be like that. My goodness. Yeah, there's no excuse for having brights on. It's one thing to have your lights on to be more visible. That guy seemed like he has bright on. Yeah, so this is what's called brighting in gangstalking. Notice I called it. And obviously I don't know these people. I don't know if you can see their license plate or not. See, this guy doesn't have any lights on because you're not supposed to have any lights on right now. Okay, much less your brights on. It's annoying, right? Like this thing, right? This humidity thing wasn't hitting earlier. Right when I start recording, right before I start recording, the humidity started hitting. Now, it might be a coincidence, I don't know. But, a lot of strange things have been going on. People, all kinds of theories about why that is. I don't consider myself a conspiracy theorist myself. I have a bachelor's degree. There's another bright. All the people, their lights on, right? I have a bachelor's degree in information technology, okay, with a concentration in software engineering. So I'm an analytical person. Logical errors, syntax errors. What they have me studying, things like this, coding. Various methodologies of software engineering. So I understand logic very, very well. I understand making presentations very well. I understand APA format, okay, valid sources, citing sources, valid sources and references. I understand what makes sense, okay, during the course of being gang stalked. Okay, back in 2015, I graduated from college. Okay, so I'm not some guy who's schizophrenic. If I'm schizophrenic and crazy, makes sense. How did I graduate from college? I'd love to hear their explanation for that. How do I have 22 witnesses? How did I masterfully, get them to leave their testimonies in a way that they couldn't later retract because they said that if they changed their story, here's another brighting, another one. You see what I'm saying? If there's not an important message that I have that they're trying to suppress, why all these people brighting me? Why no viable counter-argument for my key points in regards to martial arts, in regards to the logical interpretation of the nature of Christ, and after I die, the world being sealed in hell without a valid leader? Okay, the word deal is lead scrambled. In English, the people who had the biggest empire during colonialism, as the saying went, the sun never sets on the British Empire. I would also consider this an unusual amount of traffic for this time in the morning on this road, but whatever. Maybe it's not so much unusual, but that's something to think about. And the types of vehicles, and where they're headed doesn't seem to add up, right? But who knows? Anyway, see how if it might be a coincidence, I say it might be a coincidence. If it couldn't possibly be a coincidence, I point that out as well. That's what's called logic. All law enforcement people who might be listening and watching this, the difference between thinking objectively and subjectively. Those of you who subject yourself to being subjects of the racist white establishment, the LGBT community, in order to influence, the feminists and the kind of people we see in the government. Bipartisan committees are an example of collaboration and concerted efforts to get agendas across. Here's another guy. Okay, now some of these vehicles, I'd imagine their headlights are brighter than others. But certainly we've seen a bunch of people with their brights on so far, and it's only been like, what, less than 10 minutes? Okay. And of course, there's all kinds of reasons for that. You know, the song that says, I once was lost and now I'm found, was blind but now I see. We see in Samuel's books, 1st and 2nd Samuel, they talk about the blind and the lame. And I think it's 2 Samuel 5 will not enter the palace. And so they're arguing, David and his soldiers are arguing with the Jebusites over who's blind. Okay? The Jews in popular culture say salvation comes from the Jews, for example. The English like to think of themselves as the true Christians, King Richard and all that garbage, the old English flag, the kind of knights and Robin Hood and so on and so forth, all kinds of rubbish to that effect, right? There's some kind of knights and shining, Knights Templar and English flag connection, white, and also the white with the red cross, and also the flags we often see on the Nina and the Pinta and the Santa Maria, I believe, are also connected to some sort, in some way. They have, Knights of the Columbus Secret Society, Knights Templar degrees in Freemasonry. I mean, this is just, I'm not a conspiracy theory. These are the facts. This is what they presented. It's like saying if you don't know everything about a swastika, you can't assume that, if you start seeing swastikas, that Nazis are harassing you or something, or there's something like that going on. Okay? I don't have to know everything about Masonry. I do not know everything about Freemasonry. I do not know every crime they've ever committed. I don't believe the aliens have contacted people as such myself. Okay, I don't believe that the people in charge are reptilians. Again, I do not believe that they are lizard people or that's fucking retarded. I do believe they put out disinformation so they can harass people like me, especially here, another one with the brights on, especially black people like me, okay, who tell the truth. Like Martin Luther King, I believe that people like me were disproportionately targeted in American history by white people and their allies, token minorities, okay? I think this is mainstream history. It's well documented, well recorded, and there's a ton of information that is not publicly discussed and not commonly discussed, okay? And I do believe that there's an overwhelming amount of evidence that you racist white people continue to harass me. Law enforcement plays stupid. FBI and them are fully aware of what's going on. They're playing stupid. I do believe the evidence is overwhelming to that effect. Here's another one with their brights on. Okay, or what appears to be brights on. Most of the time I'd imagine I have it right, and sometimes I'd imagine I have it wrong, because I try not to look directly at the brights as well. Okay, here's some bright lights coming at me from far away, so I'm assuming I'm not going to look at it directly, looking away, okay, and logically it causes me to look away, so it's a traffic hazard, for them to do that, right? It creates problems in regards to driving on the road. And you can imagine, you see how over time my voice is changing to being irritated? This is what's called provocation. If people are writing you everywhere you go, okay, should the city protect you or tell you, hey, well, change your point of view, why don't you leave? It's called, you're supposed to protect my constitutional rights. And if you can't do that, you should pay me a large fucking sum of money, and then maybe I'll leave, okay? You see what I'm saying? But under no circumstance should I be harassed and abused, okay, while law enforcement's complicit and not paid a large sum of money. That's not justice, okay? Now, me personally, I'm not a gold digger. I don't give a shit about money. You know what I'm saying? I live a very humble life. But, it pisses me off that you white people are so racist. You think you can get away with anything and everything, and you think that God won't judge you and your offspring. You think you can pretend that you're right with God. You think you can cheat me out of my right to lead, and that somehow you'll be valid leaders, you'll be empowered, or some new age bullshit like that, some white supremacist, LGBT church bullshit like that, right, left paradigm, government, meant meaning mind. And we see in the Bible the word mind and spirit at times are used interchangeably. So you think that you can slip into some psychological white supremacist state and cheat me out of my rightful place, okay, and poison me and fuel me every day, and you think your offspring are going to go to heaven, okay? It is sick. You people are racist as fuck, and I mean whoever it may apply to, not just one race or not just a nation, whoever it may apply, okay.